Readers of the fantastic, and welcome to Echoes from the Satellite. I'm Karen, and today I'm going to be talking about some books that I received for my birthday. I had a recent birthday. Thankfully, I'm still having birthdays, still made another trip around the sun, and people know me well enough to either get me books or get me gift certificates to get books. So I'm going to talk about some of those books that I received today. So just be a short video today, but hopefully you'll enjoy seeing some of the books that I got. So without further ado, I'll start with the first book, and it is a huge book. So this is The Fantasy Worlds of Irwin Allen. This is from my good friend Larry, who I do the Planet 8 podcast with, also with our friend Bob. Both Larry and Bob have this book already. And so Larry decided to make me part of the club, I guess. This is a honking big book. I'm getting a workout, just maneuvering this around, as you can see here. And this is all about Irwin Allen, who put together a lot of the shows in the 60s that we might be familiar with, like Lost at Space, The Time Tunnel, Land of the Giants, City Beneath the Sea. No, that was a film. And so just kind of shows his life story and goes into all the films. He also did disaster films later on in the 70s. And Larry knows I'm a sucker for these kind of books. He is too. Actually, hopefully soon we're going to be getting together and recording an episode on a art book for a certain film we're both big fans of. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to pause the recording for a minute, and then I want to show you a few pages from inside this book. And we're back. So you can see here I have the book open to a section. This is on Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea, the film version. And it's kind of cool. You can see that they're working with the miniature version, the miniature of the Seaview submarine. Kind of cool. I enjoy seeing behind the scenes type photography. Even though the Seaview was a miniature, it's still a 8.5-foot miniature. I think nowadays they call these things bigatures. But anyway, I thought it was interesting to see the divers in the tank there with the submarine, and then also just some shots of the submarine as they maneuvered it around to get the scenes they needed for the movie. So moving on. Now, this page, or the 2 pages here, have some interesting shots of the spaceship from Lost in Space. And I don't know a ton about Lost in Space. It wasn't my bag, baby, but I did watch it some. And apparently it's known as both the Jupiter 2, which I knew, but also the Gemini 12, which I didn't know. So I'm just starting to look at this book and kind of learning this stuff. But it's cool because you get to see, miniatures, you get to see the full size prop that they had on set, and just the various versions. They had different versions of these that they made, and they didn't all look exactly alike. And I know I always had an issue with the ship when I would watch the show. I would be like, well, how many? It looks like it has maybe just 1 level, maybe 2. How many levels does it have? It was sort of like the TARDIS. It definitely looked like it had this weird extra dimensional space. Next picture I want to show with you. This section is on the time tunnel. And I don't know how many people watched the time tunnel. It was pretty short-lived. I remember watching it, I think back when I was in college or right after I got out of college. It was on like Sci-Fi Channel. And, I think it had an interesting concept, but I don't know if the delivery was that great. And it may have been just very limited in what they could do with it, because every week they had to be going in, back in time to some space and then solving a problem. And there's just not a whole lot you can do. But they had an interesting set, and it was a huge sound stage they were on. And this kind of captures the appearance of that soundstage. And I thought that was pretty neat. And if you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. And then finally, um, I really enjoy the Poseidon Adventure. We did a whole episode on Planet 8 about different disaster films, and I think it's probably my favorite one. And I like these storyboards they included here to show how they planned a lot of the stunts that they filmed in Poseidon Adventure. So they've got them all scripted out. And if you're familiar with that movie, you'll recognize over here the man falling into the big glass window. That's one that you see frequently in clip shows, and then some of the other stunts that they did. So anyway, I have only just started to look at this book. I have to give a big thank you to Larry for this book. And also, it's by Jeff Bond. And Jeff Bond is a name that you will recognize if you have any of these large coffee table behind the scenes type books. He does excellent work. So, anyway, we will move on to the next book. So, the next gift I got uh, was from my brother Steve. So, big shout out to Steve. He had listened or watched the episode I did on my trip to Bend, Oregon, where I had picked up a one of the John Christopher tripod novels, and I kind of lamented that I didn't have them all in one matching set. So now I do have them in a matching set. So my brother sent me this really beautiful boxed set, hardback, the John Christopher tripod novels. And not only that, but it has the prequel novel, which I have never read. And so I'll pull these guys out here. We're going to pause while I do that. So here's the prequel to the trilogy, which I've never read. And this is When the Tripods Came. And all of these, shame on me, I read who the artist was and promptly forgot his name. It's Anton Petrov. So all of these covers are by Anton Petrov. And I think they're quite nice, actually. They're really great. And on the back, you just have the covers to the other books in the series. So if we go through all of these, this is the first book, White Mountains. And we have the next one, City of Golden Lead. And then the final book, The Pool of Fire. Really nice looking books. And like I said, all hardback, and they're pretty slim editions, and the print is pretty large, so pretty quick reads. But again, thanks to Steve, I'm looking forward to reading these, and I'm really happy to now have matching sets in my collection. Finally, I got a gift card from my partner to go to a local bookstore here in Arizona called Changing Hands, and managed to find a couple of books I was quite pleased to get. The first one is by Stephen Graham Jones, and this is horror. Yes, I do read horror novels. Probably not as much as I read science fiction and fantasy, but I like horror as well. And Stephen Graham Jones is somebody who I have come to really enjoy. I've read two, three of his books now, and I really like the way he writes. He has a very, what I think of as direct style of writing. I like sort of concise, not overly flowery writing, and that's how I feel he writes. And the great thing about this book, so it's Killer on the Road, but it's also The Babysitter Lives. It's a double. I haven't seen very many double books. I think this was a lot more um, prominent maybe in the 60s or 70s. You'd get these, flippers that you could get two stories in. So I was super excited to see this. And I would love to start this right away, but I'm already starting to work on The Dying Earth from Jack Vance. But I think this is pretty high on my list to read. So, and I would highly recommend Stephen Graham Jones if you haven't read any of his stuff. Only Good Indians is really really creepy. He's really good at generating atmosphere. Um, his stuff, you can be sitting in a room, the sun can be pouring in, and you can still get the hairs on the back of your neck rising. So, really, really good author. And then finally, and I'm almost ashamed to admit this, but I will just because other people may feel the same way. They may need a little, confidence building. I saw this. The first thing that attracted me was that it was a SF masterwork, and I really like this series and this branding. But the other thing that drew me to this book is, and it's 1984 by George Orwell, a well-known classic that I have never read. I know, it's like, how did I get this far in life and not have read this book? Well, I could blame it on my high school for not making it required reading and, making me read things like Silas Marner instead. But no, it's really just me. I just never read it. I don't know why. Um, it's one of those things that I've always said, oh yeah, I'm going to read that. I'm going to read that every year. I'm going to get around to it and read it. Um, but now that I have it here in my hands, and I've got the SF Masterworks version, which somehow makes it so much better. Um, I'm really going to read it. And I think, unfortunately, considering the way things are going here in the US, it might be more important now than ever to read it. So this is my final book that I got as a birthday present. Sure, I picked it out, but the gift card was fabulous, and I'm very appreciative for getting that gift card. So anyway, those are my birthday books, and really excited to get all of those, and appreciative that people know me well enough to get me gifts of books. And as far as what will be happening on the channel soon, like I said, Larry and I will be looking at a large art book for a particular sci-fi movie. I don't want to say which one yet, but it'll be a well-known one. And then another pal of mine, we will be doing the first joint review of a well-known science fiction classic pretty soon on this channel. So I'm excited to start bringing some guests on and, having some back and forth, an exchange of ideas here on the channel. So that's it for this episode. Thanks for watching. Hope everybody's having a great summer, and I'll talk to you again real soon.